MLS Cup Final preview 2020. Columbus Crew hosting the Seattle Sounders. Nick, we're going to talk for about 30 minutes about MLS Cup Final. Coming up Saturday night, we are going to be live, everybody. Live for a live stream reaction, watch-along party. Saturday night, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Columbus Crew hosting Seattle Sounders. MLS Cup Final 2020. This is going to be a good matchup. No doubt about it. It's going to be a good game. There's no other way to say it. Columbus is at home. That helps. They're going to have some fans in the stadium. Seattle's going to have to travel across country. We'll get more into the details of the game. But as we stand right now, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. If you love soccer, you love MLS, you're watching this video, hit that subscribe button and get into our 1,000 YouTube subscriber challenge. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, one subscriber will be randomly drawn to win a $250 Visa gift card. Let's get there quickly. We just passed 700 tonight. YouTube's been messing up some numbers. Now we drop back under 700 from our US MNT stream. But it doesn't matter. We know where we are. We'll get there. And if you haven't done so already, hit that button, hit that like button as well. Subscribe and like. We appreciate it. Now, before we get into the guts of the game, let's talk a little bit about our bracket challenge and the current standings. So the winner's going to get a one-of-a-kind swag with the bracket challenge champion on it. Looks like it's going to be T-Mac 803210 sitting at 200 points. He picked Seattle to win the championship. If that happens, T-Mac is going to have a new piece of swag. Lex upsets BGS, Platano Solo, Wildcat, Cougar 82, and SOP Nick right there in the running. Daniel Young as well. We'll see how that all boils down. But thanks for joining us. And you can find us on social media at SOPSoccer on Twitter, at Sons of a Pitch Soccer on Instagram and Facebook. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the game at hand. MLS Cup Final 2020 in Columbus, MAPFRE Stadium, the final game at MAPFRE Stadium. Last game ever. Brand new stadium in Columbus, the first soccer-specific stadium in the United States. This is it. This is the shutdown show. MLS Cup Final. You couldn't ask for anything better if you're a Columbus Crew fan.
No doubt about it, Mike. To go from nearly losing the club to hosting the championship game in the stadium's final match within 2 years, it's nothing short of a sports miracle, I would say. And from our commenters here, Greg the Kill Switch, our Crew fan, everything that I'm seeing on social media, the articles I'm reading, the city's pumped. The soccer community is excited. And nationally speaking, too, people are excited to see this rejuvenated Columbus Crew franchise go up against Seattle, who has been the just par excellence, like the poster club for MLS over the last, 5, 7, let's see, how long they've been in the league now? They've never missed the playoffs and have won 3 trophies, 10, 11 years or so.
12 years, yeah.
It's almost like an old meets new kind of storyline, but really it's the new Seattle Sounders and the new Columbus Crew. Both teams have really embraced what is the new MLS. Both coaches know how to play their squads and know how to get the most out of them and play an exciting, goal-driven type of soccer, right? That's what we want. That's what MLS dictates. You need goal scorers if you're going to win games. Everyone says, defense wins championships. Not in MLS. Maybe it'll get you to the playoffs, but you need goal scorers to win you that cup. So that's kind of my overarching thing over all of it here, Mike. And for everyone else out there, definitely follow us along on Twitter, Facebook, CashApp, Patreon, everything, so you can not miss any of our social media content as we gear up for this great game on Saturday. So, Mike, where do you want to start as we break down these two teams in this game coming up?
Let's start right out with our keys to the game. So, what do we got to watch for in this one? Here's our keys to the game. Nick, why don't you kind of take it over from here? Columbus, composure out of the back and prevent the counter, right? So Columbus has got to stay tuned onto Nick Ladero, onto Jordan Morris, Rui Diaz. They got to make sure that those guys can't get too comfortable in their offensive end, but at the same time, prevent the counter. Right. So kind of take us through your thoughts on the Crew's keys to the game there.
Absolutely. So composure out of the back. we kind of saw it in the U.S. game versus El Salvador that we just wrapped up doing our live stream. So if you guys want to go hear us talk about 6 U.S. goals, go find our prior video from earlier in the night. But composure out of the back is the defenders and the goalkeeper need to be able to play the ball and pass the ball effectively around that back line in order to switch the field and then launch a counterattack, or do some link-up play with the midfield and then have those midfielders be able to find a diagonal pass or spring the offense. Seattle is going to come with a lot of energy and a lot of pressure, a high press in a lot of situations. So Columbus Crew's back line needs to be able to handle the ball, handle that pressure, and play comfortably with composure, knock the ball around, maintain that possession. And like you said, Mike, you got Ladero, you got Morris, you got Rodon. Those guys are going to be up in the face of that Columbus back line, and they will need to have that composure to play around that harassing front line of Seattle. So that's what I mean when I think of composure out of the back for a Columbus team.
Yeah, I mean, Mensah and Williams need to be spot on like they have throughout the entire playoffs. They've been a force to be reckoned with at the back so far. Up against New England, we saw it against them in the last matchup. I'm surprised by Josh Williams. To me, the guy, he couldn't even get a game with TFC back in 2016 and 2017. Just a depth piece. Wasn't that good. Well, he's turned it around. I mean, he's making a believer out of me every time he steps on the pitch and I see this guy work. So they've got to be strong at the back, in the middle. Make sure they don't let Rui Diaz get on that ball, because that guy is an assassin. He will get it done. He will score goals against you if you are not all over him. So that they've got to be composed at the back. The wing backs can't go too far up. They got to stay back a little bit so they don't, A, get hit on the counter like number 2, and B, they're still there to kind of hold things back. But Columbus is the home team, so you don't want to kind of play this defensive game and be like, oh, well, let's make sure we keep these guys in check and don't go forward so we don't get caught on the counter. You want to go and push forward being the home team. You can't dictate your game based off of your opponent. Obviously, that comes into play. You have to be aware of what that other team can do. But you're at home in MLS Cup Final. You've got to get after it and put the pressure on them, but also know that you've got to stay back a little bit. You got to make sure you're paying attention. Can't get hit on the counter. Got to stay composed back there. So those are my thoughts on that.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. And we know Seattle can counter quickly and effectively. All you need is to have Rui Diaz just take 2 touches and then he can find the back of the net. So absolutely composure out of the back, build that offense, prevent the counterattack. You're right. Those center backs for Columbus are going to be real key. So what were your keys to the game for Seattle there? Throw that graphic back up and let's revisit that and see how the Sounders are going to come out and try to play against Columbus here. And we've got press and score early. So take us through those thoughts there, Mike. I mean, that's a good game plan for any team, but why Seattle specifically?
Well, I mean, one they've got to press because they can't let Columbus get too comfortable off the ball. Now, the score early part is the most important because as you've seen with Seattle's last performances against Minnesota and also against Dallas, it took them a while to get into the game. Now, it's a different story. They were at home. They weren't on the road. But you've got to take those 1,500 or so fans out of that game, and you've got to try and put the pressure on Columbus because what's Columbus's key? Prevent the counter, right? Well, that's huge. If Seattle can get that first goal within the first 20 minutes, now all of a sudden Columbus is going to start pushing forward more and kind of lose that second key of the game in preventing the counter because they're going after it. They've got to chase the game. Well, of course, that's a great key to the game for any road team, but even more so in a cup final. And cup finals usually drag out a little bit. They usually start out slow because nobody wants to give up that first goal. Nobody wants to get down on themselves. I mean, we've seen it in the last few cup finals. Even look at last year with Seattle and TFC. It was till the second half before a goal was scored. It was 0-0 at the half. Finally, I think it was like around the 60th minute that Seattle got one, and it was all TFC, the road team. The road team was the one that was pressing. The road team was the one who was trying to score early. And I think Seattle's just got to kind of do that same thing now on the road going to Columbus. And they've got to press defensively, right? They've got to really get on Columbus, make Santos uncomfortable, make Zardes uncomfortable. Don't let Lucas Zelarayan get on the ball with any space. Really go after them so that they can't get comfortable building that possession in the attacking third at home in MLS Cup Final.
There you go. I think the other key that you have to add is Seattle's best players have to be at their best, right? We saw them struggle a little bit against Minnesota when they weren't scoring, when they were getting their looks and not finding the back of the net. That Rui Diaz volley that he was wide open on the back post and put it over the top, that kind of shook him up a little bit. And for your teammates to see your star player miss an open net like that, that's going to hurt. They did come back. They got the win through some magic late in that game. Thank you, Will Bruin. Thank you, Svensson. If you want to hear some ridiculous commenting about that, go find our video and just watch the last 15 minutes of the game. We get pretty riled up. So their three guys got to play great. Now for Columbus, they don't need one guy to carry the team. I mean, it'd be great if Zardes could come out and, bag 2 early goals and then have some hold-up play. It would be great if you see Mensah just totally dominating the defensive side of things. But for the Crew, they've got so many guys who can do so many things. So as long as they're playing that great team game that they're used to, that could really separate them from Seattle. Seattle, again, an excellent team. You don't get to where you are both this season and historically without being a great team, having depth, having good coaching, all of that. But on the field, starting 11 versus starting 11, I mean, Columbus might not have the best players, but they might have the most complete roster between the two. Not by much, but they might. But they might. And that might be just enough to elevate them if they can get some really good play with Zelarayan and Santos and Artur and Zardes and everyone linking up, and maybe a couple defenders make those runs. Offal's made those runs, up to the front on occasion. So we'll see how that all plays out, Mike. But I like the keys to the game. It's something we're definitely going to be watching for, how the Columbus backline plays and how Seattle's striking trio, 3-headed attack monster, whatever you want to call them, presses early and often. I like it.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the players to watch in this one. Mm-hmm. So we both picked 2 players. They are different on each team, one from each team, and my players are different than yours. So let's get right into our players to watch. I think these are the most important players for their team in this matchup. My players to watch: Columbus Crew, Lucas Zelarayan, and Seattle Sounders, Nico Lodeiro.
Choices.
Zelarayan, this guy was brought in to take Columbus to the next level, and he has. Can he do it again on the biggest stage in MLS Cup Final against the reigning MLS Cup champions? I think he can. I think this guy, he's played a lot of big games at Tigres. He has just excelled like I didn't expect him to. You go back to our beginning of the season, previews and all that kind of stuff. I really did not think he was going to pan out in MLS. And I judge that solely off of 2 games against TFC in the CONCACAF Champions League. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge League MX guy. I don't watch a lot of their games, and that's probably why I missed it. But he has been nothing short of sensational since he came over from Tigres. You saw it in MLS's back tournament. He didn't take any time to get adjusted to MLS. He was dominating from the start to the finish. And he has definitely taken Columbus to that next level. And it's very important for him to do so again and control that midfield and keep that attacking pressure on Seattle on the road. If you can keep the pressure on Seattle, that will bode well for Columbus. Now, for Nico Lodeiro as my player to watch for Seattle Sounders, this guy, I mean, he came into the league, 4 years ago now? I think it was 2016, maybe the end of 2015 when he came in for Seattle. He has been one of the best players in MLS since then. An unbelievable player. His work rate is top-notch. There are few better in the league than Nico Lodeiro when it comes to work rate, and his passing, his goal scoring. He does it all. If he does not have a good game, the Sounders don't have a good game. And it's not very often that Nico Ladero doesn't have a good game. That's why Seattle is always seems to be an MLS Cup, especially come playoff time. He has the tools around him. I think in this game, it's more important for him to be more of a distributor than he has in the last few games. Obviously, if there's an opportunity for him to go to goal and score, he's going to take that, and that's what makes him so special. But he's got to look for Jordan Morris coming through on the wings, hitting on the counter, setting off the counter. I think that is going to be the biggest thing he can do, and that's why we got to watch him so closely. What will he do when the turnover comes to him in, just on his side of midfield? Will he be able to get the ball up to Rui Diaz, Jordan Morris, Jovan Jones, one of those guys making a big run? I think he can, and that's why he's my player to watch for the Sounders. Nick, you've got two completely different players. Yep. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your players to watch and why you think so?
Absolutely, Mike. First, just, shout out to everyone on the stream here. Greg Chaffin, Brother BKL Contreras, Sergeant Pickles, as well as Tactical Manager TV. Thank you guys for all jumping on Tactical Manager. Hope you guys had a good stream for the U.S. game. Keep that conversation going all over American soccer. Loving it.
Yeah, look good. Tactical Manager was blowing up, man. I went over to say hi just after halftime, and it was like 100 people watching. We were sitting around 35, 40. I'm like, damn, dude, y'all blowing up. So well done. Thanks for jumping on Tactical. Appreciate it. We're just trying to grow the sport of soccer in the United States, and love it. Love it, man. Keep it up.
So, yes, my players to watch here, Mike. We have Mensah, and for him with Columbus, I was talking about it earlier, right? Like, he is going to be the anchor of that back line. He is going to have to really keep their shape, keep them sound tactically, keep a good formation, make sure that none of these Seattle attacking players are getting into space behind them or finding room in the wings to operate. So he's going to have to really be playing in two different games, right? He's going to have to be playing the game in front of him and then the game all around him. With keeping his team in line. And I can't remember if he was wearing the captain's armband in the last game or at some point during this playoffs, but he can do it. The other thing about him is he's going to have to, I think his primary job is going to be shutting down Rui Diaz, bodying him up, playing a physical game against Rui Diaz. We don't want to see any of that CONCACAF fouling and hacking like we saw earlier with El Salvador here. Every time one of the U.S. players got the ball in a dangerous spot, they were getting taken out. But he's got to body him up. He's got the size advantage over him, and he's just got to make sure he stays on him. I mean, Rui Diaz does not miss when he's given space within, 18, 20 yards. So I think that's my first player to watch. You're going to watch to see how he plays his own game, marking these lethal Seattle strikers, as well as keeping the shape for the defense and then starting the attack from the back. Now, as far as the Seattle side of things, I mean, sure, it'd be easy to say, Svensson, Bruin, Smith, some of these great subs coming out there, right? But no, I'm going with a little more of an obvious player to watch, Jordan Morris. And again, it gets back to my keys of the game. I'm trying to keep a consistent theme here, consistent points. A little something I learned in law school, right? Stay consistent, sound reasonable, and you're probably going to win more arguments than you lose. So if the Columbus Crew's defense has to stay sound, Jordan Morris has the ability to pull them out of shape and pull them out of position. When he gets in the wings and when he gets into the channels, he's able to stretch that back line, which creates a lot of space for the supporting midfielders to come up behind him, as well as the attacking players to get into the box and have some one-on-one matchups or find some free space. So Jordan Morris is going to be key in that sense for his play, what he can do off the ball. But on the ball, you saw it in the game against Minnesota. They started just lobbing balls into Morris in the channels, in the offensive corners, and letting him make plays, whether it's crosses, whether it's taking the defender one-on-one, or whether it's, dropping back and cycling the ball around and switching fields and attacking Minnesota from another side of things. Like, Morris is all of that. He's a little bit more of, I don't know if you'd call him as much of a field general as some of the other players on there, but he is the first point when they're starting to attack. So that's why he's my player to watch. Plus, every now and then he surprises you with a banger from like 24 yards out or something like that. So you got to keep an eye on him. That's for sure. So I got Mensah for Columbus. I've got Morris for Seattle. But any player on either one of these rosters is capable of stepping up and making a big play, Mike.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's tons of talent on the field. I mean, that's these teams are both very deep. They have a lot of good talent, even on the bench, which obviously you need in MLS to be successful. I can't wait. It's going to be really exciting to watch. We will be live for that game on Saturday night at 7:30. Live stream reaction, watch along, and I'm sure as Tactical joins us here in the chat, I'm sure they will be doing a live as well. So definitely support the both of us as we both grow the game of soccer here in the United States. Dude, it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Really good game. It's funny looking at your players to watch. I can tell where you're going with your pick. And now, obviously, I know that because you predicted them in the preseason to win the title. So I'll give it that. I knew what you were going to do. But looking at it, you've got a defender for Columbus is the most important player of the game. So what do you expect? Do you expect this game to just go like Seattle, just tilting the field and really going after Columbus the entire time? Do you expect this to be more of a 50-50 matchup? Do you expect to see kind of Seattle sitting back a little bit in the beginning and then really going for the kill? How do you see this game playing out?
I see it being a very fast game. I mean, look at Columbus, New England. That was a fast game from the start. Tons of energy. Look at Seattle, Minnesota. Look at Seattle, Dallas. I mean, those are track meets of games, at least the first 15, 20, 30 minutes. I expect it to be very fast. I expect Seattle to come into Columbus, forget conventional wisdom of, let's just absorb the home team's, initial onslaught. Seattle's going to play their game, and that is fast starts, lots of offensive pressure. I think that's why I have Mensah as my player to watch, and that's why one of my keys to the game was, being composed and keeping your shape along the back line, preventing the counterattack. So I really think Seattle's has the potential to dominate and control, but we haven't seen them match up against Columbus yet. We haven't seen them really match up against many teams that play like Columbus does, maybe against Portland. And what happened in those games against Portland? I think they lost at least one to Portland this season. So despite all of that, though, Mike, I mean, these are all scenarios here. My pick is the Seattle Sounders, and I have said it from the preseason. I have said it from prior to the playoffs, and I'm saying it again tonight. Again, consistency and being reasonable. That's what wins the arguments. I think Seattle is just, top to bottom, an excellent team on paper, an excellent team on the pitch. They've got experience. They've got coaching. They have that lethality on their attack, and that might be what separates them in a game of goal scoring. I know a few minutes ago I just said Columbus might have a higher average, but Seattle's got the highest ceiling when it comes to goal scoring, I think, between their three-headed monster of Morris, Rui Diaz, and Ladero. And then, of course, either of the Roldans can come in and knock one in, find the back of the net. So right. I'm picking Seattle. I think they get, what is this going to be? Would this be their fourth cup or their third cup? Third cup. Which, by the way, crazy statistics, Seattle only been in the league since when? 2009? 2010? Yep. 09? Yep. They already have the fourth most playoff MLS Cup appearances, I believe, fourth or fifth most appearances, obviously behind LADC. Houston also has 4 MLS Cup appearances. I don't know if they're giving them the ones when they were the San Jose franchise, though, or not. I can't recall if Houston has 4 as the Dynamo. But, yeah, so Seattle is just impressive. That's what they do. They just win games. That's why I'm going Seattle, Mike.
What do you got the scoreline being?
Scoreline 3-2 Sounders.
Okay. So you're expecting a pretty wide open game then, huh?
I think so. I mean, we know Columbus has the ability, both as a team and some of that individual talent up front. God, I love watching Zardes score big goals in big games because so many people out there hate him. So I love that, and I'm a big fan of what Zardes does. I think he's got one in him, and I think Columbus can get another one. But they're going to get that other one chasing the game. I think Seattle's got it 3-2.
All right, so that's Nick's pick. He's got the Sounders to win MLS Cup for the third time in 4 years. Just a dynasty over there. Those guys they just keep doing big things. So you're going 3-2. You're going high scoring. I'm going to switch that up a little bit. I think it's going to be low scoring. It's a final, man. These usually finals are fairly low scoring. It takes a while for teams to feel each other out and get going. Nobody wants to make that first mistake. So I think it'll be more of a low scoring game. It'll be an exciting game. It'll be a chess match. Especially with the two coaches, with Porter and with Schmetzer. That's what I'm seeing. Now, both teams have great offense. Both teams have good defenses. Much more offensive laden. However, seeing this with Seattle going on the road, this team is just, they're a great team. There's no other way to put it. They always seem to be in the final. 4 out of the last 5 years, I think now they'll be in the final, which is just ridiculous. Columbus, to me, is a team of destiny, man. This team was the 3rd seed in the East. They led the way most of the way in the beginning of the season. Then they kind of fell off a little bit when they got hit with the injury bug. And then they made a good playoff run where Philadelphia and Toronto, the seeds ahead of them, could not do. This team, Columbus, to me, at home, I like them being at home. But how do you pick against the reigning MLS Cup champions? I have a hard time doing it, especially as a TFC fan and getting our ass kicked for the last, 2 of the 3. Both Sounders wins came against TFC.
Right.
So it's really tough. But looking at it with Columbus at home, the fact that they're going to have fans in the stands, to me, I think that Columbus last game at MapFree, it's a Columbus win. My pick, I'm going with the Crew to get the upset. I just got a feeling about it. At home, last game there, Zelarayan, Tim Bezbachenko knows how to build championship teams. I'm going with the Crew in a very low-scoring matchup. I don't think it's going to be crazy. My brain goes like 3-3-ish range, maybe 3-2. But then when you bring in the fact that it's a final, the fact that these teams are going to be feeling each other out for a while, Seattle on the road, the fact that, remember, Seattle was down a goal in the 89th minute against Minnesota and then struck gold twice in 4 minutes. So for me, my pick, Columbus, they're 150, plus 150, Seattle's plus 175 for all of our betting friends out there for picks and predictions. I'm going with technically the favorite. I think that might change, though. Those odds might change by the time the game actually plays along. I'm going with the Crew, and I'm going 2-1. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think we're not even going to see a goal in the first half. Both teams are going to be just finding each other out. And then right in the beginning of the second half, I think you're going to see Seattle get on the board, and then Columbus is going to start chasing, get one back around the 75th minute, and then right after that, 5-10 minutes after that, get another one to bring it home in the last game at MapFree Stadium. So my pick, Columbus Crew 2-1. Nick, you've got the Sounders 3-2. Those are our picks and predictions. We've got our awesome live stream reaction watch-along party Saturday night, 7:30 Central Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, 8:30 West Coast, you're going to be 5:30. If you're over in England or India or Turkey, wherever else we've got viewers and subscribers from, I don't know what time it'll be there. But come join us. We're going to have lots of fun. We're going to have a couple little promotions going on during the game. Subscriber count, that did really well in the USMNT game tonight. So we'll have that going as well. Thanks, everybody. Those are our picks. That's how we think it's going to play out. It's going to be a good game. Regardless, these guys, they're both very good teams. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Is it Saturday yet?
I mean, I always hope it's Saturday, Mike, but this time we've got even more incentive and more stuff to look forward to. So yeah, going to be a fun one. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited about it. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself until that time.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks everybody for jumping on with us. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We will see you guys Saturday night. Thanks. Sorry we didn't get to all the chats and the comments like we usually do in our lives, but we had a lot of information to cover in 30 minutes. Wanted to keep it somewhat short for the purposes of an MLS Cup Final preview. Thanks everybody for joining. We'll see you guys real soon, Saturday night. Enjoy your rest of your week, and we will talk to you Saturday night. Good night.